Oh, hello everybody. Welcome to the Interesting Modelling Company Sunday service. Goodness me, it's another Sunday, chaps.
It is indeed. The calendar keeps rolling along.
It does. It just doesn't stop, does it?
Christmas next.
You what? Sorry, Ian?
It'll be Christmas next.
It will be. It will be. How are we all doing, chaps?
Well, very well considering, I think is a good way to say it.
I was going to say, Chris, how are things in your neck of the woods? Because we don't hear much about the Americas on the news these days. It's very disappointing. I have no idea what's going on over there. So,
yeah, it's very sedate. Nothing. It's not as if some stupid piece of news comes out on every hour on the hour. You know, it's you know, it's very nice if you don't have electricity. You don't have to hear any kind of communications from anybody anywhere. It's great.
Let's move it on.
Yes.
Sure, we made into trouble. Ian, how you doing? How you doing?
I'm all right.
Yeah.
Actually, the end of the week was better. I had some stuff that happened midweek that's made things towards the end of the week much better, and hopefully we'll go forward doing that. But yeah, it's been cool. It's been cool.
Right.
And we got the beard disappeared most of.
Oh, what happened there?
There was a hairdresser basically, and I went and I was like, you know, when you've reached that point where it was getting a bit, and I was
a bit Drew, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was distinctly out of control, and I thought that's it.
Yep.
So
incidentally, we don't have a Drew tonight because I do believe he's out gigging. So as indeed I think Mr. Fleming is as well. So Agent Fleming, I think, is out gigging tonight. So anyway, shall we leap on with some news items? So we've got two bits of housekeeping to deal with first of all. And first of all, there is Models for Heroes. They're doing their 48 in 48 challenge. And essentially, this is welcome to the 48 in 48 challenge, a dynamic and inclusive group build event that combines the joy of scale modeling and the mission to support mental health with well-being through creativity. The annual challenge The annual challenge invites participants to build a 1/48 scale model kit within 48 hours, all in support of Models for Heroes, a UK-based charity providing scale model kits for creative outlets to improve the mental health of veterans, active service members, and first responders. So the link is going up on our Facebook page. It's obviously it's a very worthwhile cause to support. And Models for Heroes do an absolutely sterling job. So I think we can all congratulate Malcolm on what he does there and wish him all the best with that. We'll do whatever we can to support it. So whatever they need, we'll do our best. There is also a group build being organised by For Ukraine, the For Ukraine group build. Build any aircraft, vehicle, figure, diorama, other modelling subject on theme, and the theme is Glory to the Heroes of Ukraine. And there are prizes. So there is a £10 donation, but that goes towards charitable causes. So we've got that. We got that coming up in May, I do believe, and they haven't put a date on there. I'll have a word with them tonight on that. But yes, that's a worthwhile cause to support. And also, we put out a feeler during the week to say what kind of group build do you fancy doing here at some stage in the year. The most overwhelming one was do something Ukraine themed. So we'll kind of keep that one open. It could be anything from a kit company based in Ukraine. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So chaps, what have we been working on? Christopher, you have broken ranks here, haven't you? And you've been doing something different.
I have. Well, honestly, I started this a long while ago. Somebody wanted me to build one for them. And I said I build two. I build one for me and one for them. And I haven't heard from them ever again. But I have two kits going. But this is the mini. I'm sorry, the AFV Club SDKFZ 232 Panzer Spa-Wagen. My friend Randy Ray, when I said I was going to start building a 35th scale piece of armor for the first time in 40 years, I think, he said, "Oh, AFV Club, those kits are kind of fiddly." And yeah, there's like 450 parts in there. The suspension and the frame part are just bonkers. And this is as far as I've gotten so far. You can see there's that little thing up in the corner is the only shim I've used so far to keep these various sides together. Everything's a separate piece. And I've learned a lot about this vehicle. There's somebody online who's become an expert who has like a million little niggles with his kit. Like, there's no armor overlap between the upper and lower hull halves, and the front part of the hull is too shallow for an early series vehicle. And it's like, well, I'm going to put stuff on top of that, so who cares? But I've added in some racks there and a box or two. And I was telling Ian earlier, it's very frustrating. You can see in that previous picture, there's outlines for where the gear is supposed to go, the interior stuff, but there's no stuff in the kit. So it's a little frustrating. I'm planning on building it as a somewhat semi-opened up as part of a diorama. So really, really interesting thing to do. Not the simplest 35th scale armor piece I could have chosen, but it's one that honestly, it was the one monogram subject I never got as a kid. So that's what attracted me to the SDKFZ 232. The monogram kit came out in 1974 and then disappeared before I could get one, and then wasn't reissued until 1983, so almost 9 years. So obviously in between that time, Tamiya did one, and then this mini art one came out, or I'm sorry, not mini art, AFV Club came out. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of excited about it. It's pretty fun. Although I'm probably going to put it on pause because I've got to build that Tiger Cat for the Museum of Flight in Seattle, and I realized that I was going to be crafty and do the new fly model one until I realized the new fly model one doesn't come out until after the deadline for the submission for the
yeah, that might be a bit of a hiccup there, Chris.
Yeah, so I'm going to take a monogram one and convert it into a 3N. But fun little kit. Obviously, the interior is just raring to go as far as weathering is concerned. Mm-hmm. It is putting all these suspension pieces together is kind of a meditative activity, especially if you're building two in parallel. So it's 8 of each of these assemblies, which each have 4 wheels on them, and on and on and on and on, and it never seems to really end until you finish it. So and those little pedals there, you put in the chassis, and then you put that lower deck around them. It's just crazy. So they expect you to do some kind of plastic contortion to make it all fit together, but you can fit it together if you are pig-headed enough and do things like break one of the pedals off, which helps a lot.
It's funny you mentioned the monogram kit, because I sort of regret, this is going back about 10 years ago, when I was visiting through Model Center, they had the latest reissue of the monogram 232. And I was going through a bit of a Shep Payne kind of bit of Shep Payne hero worship back then, and I really regret that I never picked one up. I've got the Tamiya kit, which is beautiful for its age. So yeah, that's on the list to build at some stage. But this does look tasty, Chris. I think is one way of putting it.
Yeah, it's getting there. So it's gonna be an Africa Core vehicle. So I'm trying to find the right shade of RLM 8020 or whatever it was they used. I can try out some weathering stuff I've been waiting to do. You know, it's not really appropriate to put a lot of rusting and heavy tripping on an airplane, right? It's a little more apropos on a vehicle running around the desert. And you know, typically airplanes don't get dust built up in crevices and stuff like this. This has lots of crevices, so
It's a fabulous shape, isn't it? It's like a sports car armored fighting vehicle.
yeah, it's a really weird shape. It's just stacks of parts, like, you know, chassis, hull, upper hull, turret, and like a pyramid. So it's interesting. And another thing is I planned this diorama a long time ago. So I painted a bunch of Hornet heads a long time ago to go with this and a couple other projects, and they've been in my workshop like this on their sticks. And my wife gets kind of creeped out. She thinks it's like a little miniature Colonel Kurtz's camp every time she comes in here. All these disembodied heads on sticks. So I have to get those figures. I have to get those figures built, and I can't really build them until I know where they're going to be standing on the vehicle, because they'll be, you know, leaning over and stuff like that. So
it looks good though.
Okay. It's on the way.
As I think we were saying, that there was a Hobby Fan linked to, which is a resin manufacturer linked to AFE Club, and they're Korean, I believe. And Hobby Fan did the resin interior set for that. So all those little gaps and spaces, I believe, are where the bits in the Hobby Fan kit are supposed to go.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
I'll have to find that online and at least
Finding one might be
copy
fun. I haven't seen Hobby Fan stuff around for a while. I stand to be corrected on that, but that's not
if I can find a build article where somebody used it, I can probably replicate a lot of that stuff. And because a lot of this is personal gear and ammunition for the 20mm cannon and stuff like that. Yeah. So not too complicated.
Stowage.
Yeah.
Right, we're just going to have a shout out to everybody who's joined us this evening. So the roll call of viewers, and we've got Damien Mullen was first in the queue tonight. And we've also got Hobby Time, Kitchen Table Modeler, Michael Scott, Dave Swindle, Rory's modeling page, Dougal McWoogle. I do that every week, sorry. Stephen Pryor, Craig Sargent, today Craig, Anne-Marie Ryle Gould, Lee Suter, Nick Brown, Travis Thompson, David Mummery, Greg Woodbridge, Rob Sutto, Dave Coward, Rob Monfee, how you doing, Rob? Paul Voyle, Mike Williams, Philip Jones, Theron Hampton, Keith, the mysterious Keith, Shane Weir, Simon James Colley, who does send us links and things, which we're using on the show today, Vincent Murphy, John Connolly, John Huston, Michael Hooverling, scrolls down, Linda Junkin, Ian Goldstraw, Adam Cooper, Bruce Bell, Jet Scale Models, some bloke called Spencer Pollard, never heard of him, Simon Lewis, Herman Handbrush, Phil. So yes, greetings to you all for giving up your precious Sunday night to come and join this madness. Ian, what have you been up to?
Apart from that, I've just read Shane Weir's comment.
Oh, Shane as well.
Like
yeah,
hello, having Shane. A good time over there in the Antipodeans. I'm building yet another skyline. I have a thing for skylines.
Right.
Oh, this is cool. Well,
there we go.
There you go. This is the Tamiya R34 skyline, and I'm still messing with these Gunze metallics. And this is another one. This is GX214, which is ice silver. It's had a couple of coats. I've got a little mark here that I hadn't identified. I need to give it a little Trizact and maybe dust some more on. But it's rapidly approaching a clear coat. That the rest of it's built and painted. So it's a case of just link across here and grab. See, I've been playing with the AK markers. I've been doing some colouring in, and they're a very useful thing because. All right, okay. So if you're looking underneath one of my models, that means either I'm showing you, fine, or you've picked it up. If you've picked it up, permission, we're going to die. So it doesn't matter what it looks like underneath. But there's a nice, simple way of getting a little bit of colour differences in there. They're really quite cool. So gunmetal, dark aluminium, standard aluminium, black, just 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes, just enough to give some differences there. And then obviously at some point it will all go together. This GX metallic paint, I absolutely love this stuff. I now have all of the range. The completist in me wouldn't let that not happen. But yeah, they're really cool. I'm loving those. There you go.
Sorry, the controls are frozen.
Yeah.
Right, we will leap on with some news items, and we will kick off tonight. We mentioned this company last week, Matters of Scale, and they rather kindly got in contact with us. This was John and John Colasante, and he sent us some stuff. So what have we got here? We have got their 48 scale B26 Marauder seats for the ICM kit. I suppose you could use them in the Monogram or the AMT ones, but these are, as you can see from the photographs, they are exquisite. It's absolutely stunning what you can do with 3D printing. He also sent us the Wright R182056 engine, of which there we go.
Is that the Thunderbolt engine that we saw last week?
I think it is, yeah. We were talking about this last week. Are these single piece castings? Yes, they are. I will show you one on camera at some stage, but in order to get them out of the the printing blocks, it's going to take a while. But I will do a demo tonight of one of theirs. That's the R1838.6, which, oh God, the detail on that is just, it's incredible. I mean, you can tell I'm really kind of like blown away by this, because the fact that you can 3D print all the ignition wires, for goodness sake, it's just phenomenal technology. And that's the R2800
I'm very impressed by the fact that one of them comes in a scale model of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. I think that's
yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Also in the box of delights was a British trolley accumulator trolley, a starter trolley, which we might put that together tonight. I'll have a think about that. And we'll do that. Let's switch to the workshop camera, shall we? So here is you don't get any instructions with it, so you're going to have to rely on your own common sense and your own references. But here it is in the, there we go. So there are all the printing supports. So it looks like it consists of the two wheels, the base, and the actual power pack itself, the battery itself. So let us rather bravely, my SMS nippers here, and we'll, oh, these just literally crumble away. Do you know what? I'm going to go in there with a scalpel.
I can hear Drew if he was going, you need my special thingy. Okay.
There we go. Yeah, these just, it's brilliant the way they just crumble away. Drew would probably be wrenching it off with brute force. If you've ever seen him eat.
Oh dear.
I'm still finding bits of curry on my sitting room chair, despite the fact that I'm constantly hoovering it. So right, let's go in there. And sorry, Drew, we love you dearly. Right, I'm gonna employ a bit of brute force here. In fact, I'm just going to break that off. I should have done that at the start there. Oops, Daisy. I have broken it now.
Are you beginning to think this wasn't such a good idea now?
No. This is yeah. We've managed to. Yeah, it's so thin. I've managed to crack it, but a bit of super glue inside there will fix that.
It's when there's internal supports that's when I tend to find they're an issue.
Yep. So we'll just clean up those, get them at the bottom. Then we get our Infini sanding stick, and that makes short work of that, quite frankly. Yeah, those sides are impossibly thin. They are
down a bit.
Yeah, but a little bit of super glue in there.
That's really nice, actually, that, isn't it? It's a beautiful bit of printing. You can't say it's a beautiful bit of casting, though, can you? As someone's pointed out, because it's not cast.
No,
it's printing.
It's a beautiful bit of printing. So, oops, Daisy. There we go. We'll just get these. I don't want to be too brutal because you've obviously got this handle here. So I don't want to break that. And we'll just, oops, Daisy. We'll go in and take those supports out there. I'm gonna chop them short of the actual part. So if there is any movement, it's not going to. I would say an observation is this is great, but I think I would have preferred the parts to be a little bit more spread out rather than all being kind of concentrated.
I think it comes down to scale, the economy of scaling. That if they're really clustered together like that, you can print 20 bunches or 20 batches of the same thing on a print bed at a time. So then it's like time spent. And Mike could probably know better than we would. But from my understanding of it, from talking to people who do it, it is about getting the most out of printing. So,
no, I can really appreciate that.
Have you seen the ones in the little 3D printed sets you get some of the armor at 72nd and 48th scale aircraft kits, where it's a little box that has got 300 bits? It felt like it had 300 bits in the one I did. It was the thing was about 1 centimeter square. I was like, wow. So
we are butchering this a bit, but the perils. Oops, Daisy. The perils of doing a modeling demo live with something that you are unfamiliar with. So, right, we've got one support there that needs to. Oh, for goodness sake, come on! I know this is a real blue.
What's nearly as interesting as the Arsenal Man U game was earlier.
Well, do you know what? We are going to go slightly off tangent here. The Arsenal Man U game worked entirely in my favour. So I'm a happy chappy. So
yeah, well, and any Liverpool fan is sitting looking at that.
There we go. There we go. Oh goodness me! I can't get the cutters in there. This is an abject lesson, folks, in how not to remove 3D printed parts. It's stuck on one piece, and I'm trying to see where it's. Goodness me! Oh, there it is, right at the back there. I'll tell you what. There we go. There we go. So that's really straightforward to clean. Oops, let's get it on camera. That's really straightforward to clean that up. So it's just a case of going in there very, very gently, smoothing it down with the Infini stick. But the beauty of this is that you don't get any mold part lines. So you're just getting rid of the print nubs, tabs, I don't know what you call them. So that should drop on top there like so. Yep. And then the wheels on the bus go round and round, and that's so. Yeah, there's a little bit more cleanup to do, but essentially there we go. There is our 48 scale trolley accumulator. Absolutely brilliant. So I am looking forward to trying out these other bits and pieces. We've lost Chris. There he is. He's back again. But yeah, absolutely fab. In fact, whilst we're doing the rest of the show, I might still be faffing around with some of these bits here. It's just a shame you've got that left over, isn't it?
Some of the support structures are absolutely beautiful. It's a piece of sculpture. There's all these bits going off in all sorts of directions. They're absolutely fabulous. On
the B26 seats, it looks like it uses those as banisters on a diorama or something.
Yeah.
I say some of these shapes you always want to hang on to them because they could prove useful for dioramas and things, or Greeblies for doing something. Right, shall we jump ahead with the news? So, talking of 3D printing, we have this in 1/48 scale. Now, this is Studio Mid or Studio MID. They're doing a 48 scale skeletal A6M2B0. They've done two kits of this. They've done an initial one, which was just the fuselage with a wooden base, but now they're doing the full kit with the wings and everything. Currently doing it on pre-order. Yeah, come on, let's get the comments out of the way, chap, shall we?
Yeah, that looks kind of like a showstopper with that much work. That's really pretty amazing, and it'll be a finishing challenge for sure. But yeah, just beautiful.
That's the fuselage kit they do, and it comes with a wooden base to display it on. But yeah.
That's one way to have your interior detail visible.
Yes. Yeah, you can't say you've put all that effort into the fuselage and you can't see it now. You've closed the fuselage halves up. They also do the engine separately as well. These images come from Hobby Search, so thanks to them. But yeah, it's what's the price? The price is no, we haven't got the price here, but this is one of the Nakajima built Zeros. 740 Type 21s were built by Mitsubishi, but 800 were built by Nakajima. But yeah, this does look just. What can you do with 3D printing these days? I mean, this is really pushing it now, isn't it?
That's absolutely mental. If I'm honest. You want to know how much it is?
Yeah, go on.
According to Hobby Search, 22,800 yen. Which comes out in Great British pounds as £120.
Do you know what? I'm going to stick my neck out here. I'm going to say that's not bad. It's a lot of money, but I know. But yes, for what you're getting and for the amount of work it's going to take to bring it off, I think that's not too bad.
Not too bad. I mean, if let's face it, most modelers aren't going to want to build it this way. So it's got somewhat limited appeal, but the people who do want to build it this way want something really good and very straightforward, and not trying to make themselves out of styrene strip and rod. So
it's a challenge piece, isn't it? We all do them from time to time. Like the challenge is in making it look good. If you remember, was it Edouard did photo etch skeletal aircraft in various scales at some point?
Yes,
Dorsch and something else, didn't they?
Yeah.
They were a challenge piece. It's the one it's just how good can I be to do that? How can I? And I think sometimes that's I do that. There's a few models I've built over the years that I regarded as a challenge to myself. Mainly Blue Rider vac form World War One aircraft. But it's just mental.
I like that open and closed canopy. What's the difference really?
Nice touch.
One's slid back and one isn't. On the plus side, there's no masking, so yeah.
right.
No clear parts to fog up either, and it looks like they print it in a slightly kind of metallic looking resin, which is interesting, unless they've just sprayed these with paint.
They're not printing in aluminium, because I know there is a metal printing technique out there.
Okay, no, it said on the website resin, so but no, this absolutely phenomenal, this, and it reminds me going back to the 1980s. Remember them? Sorry, I got a bit Stuart Lee now. Yeah, the 1980s, when Tim Perry first launched PP Aeroparts. One of the things he was going to do was a skeletal Bristol fighter in 72nd scale. Never happened, unfortunately, but yeah, that would have been something. But that's, again, if we were to go back to the 1980s and try to explain to somebody that you can print a model, you can print a 3D model, we'd think it was witchcraft, wouldn't we?
Yeah, we'd laugh at you mainly.
That's right. That's right.
Wonder what you've been drinking.
We've got some extra pics, by the way. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. That's the fuselage kit, and it comes with the wooden base as well. But absolutely phenomenal. Not for me, but I don't begrudge those who'd like to tackle that. I'm just going to have a quick look.
That there's in our comments. There's a guy called Dave Coward.
Yeah,
that's a Dave Coward model.
I'm just having a look to see.
I'll wait for him to send me to put an almost expletive in the bottom of the comments in a minute now.
Yeah,
Felix Stowe.
Yeah, he makes a very good point. He says, think of the weathering. Darth Bilius says, just the thing for the fish tank.
It would be a great diorama subject.
Absolutely. Lox 9 has to be the one. I want to put panels on the outside. Yes. Just go out and buy the Academy or the Tamir or the Hasegawa kits. Next news item is Trumpeter, and Trumpeter are doing a 1/200th scale model of the RMS Olympic. Now, the Olympic was one of the White Star liners, ironically enough, Olympic class liners. And she had two sister ships. Chaps, can you name the two sister ships?
Oh, goodness.
Titanic and Britannic.
Sorry, Ian, say that again.
Titanic and Britannic.
There we go.
Yep.
There we go. Yeah, so a big ship, and at 1/200 scale, this is going to be a big old model. Also comes with a shed. Look at that! Doesn't that just look incredible? Comes with a shed load of photo etch, as befits a subject like this. So obviously, if you are slightly photo etch phobic, you're not going to want to build something like this. But
ooh, I like that. The gun casements, the turrets there, very nice touch.
yeah,
That's purpose-built model. It's nice.
Because Britannic was a hospital ship, wasn't it? That was sunk in the Med somewhere off the Dardanelles.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what happened to Olympic.
I will tell you in a second. Olympic was withdrawn from service and sold for scrap on the 12th of April, 1935. Which was completed, the scrapping was completed in 1937. So she survived the war, Like I say, of the Olympic class ships, she was the lucky one. But yeah, look at all that photo etch. That's absolutely bonkers. And we're just scrolling through the kit images here as well. So we've got deck fittings and lifeboats and clear parts. Because if you looked on that other image, there is the clear part there for what I think was probably the ballroom.
I believe it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get clear parts. You get some looks like copper wire or braided wire. They look like single piece moldings for the funnels.
Huh.
That's sensible.
Yep. And then more lifeboats. And here's an overview of kind of like what you get in the kit. A huge decal sheet, goodness me. And there we go. The HMT Olympic, although she's RMS Olympic, but Her Majesty's Troop Ship Olympic. That does look. It just looks incredible, doesn't it? It's.
I'll tell you what, there's some nice use of slide mold technology
Yes.
on the lifeboat, so they're open topped, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's a very nice piece of true design.
This is based, incidentally, on their 2019 tooling of the passenger version. So there are updated bits in this for the, for the troop ship.
Yeah.
Price, right? Are we ready for price? Anywhere between £339 and £423.
Well, you better like the subject.
Because if that's most of your mortgage payment, so you're going to be living in it next year. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. But that just looks absolutely phenomenal, doesn't it?
It's fantastic. Yeah, it's really, really cool. I also love the Dazzle camouflage. We always joke around. We joke around about Dazzle camouflage here because I have friends who build ships, and so one of them. I suggested to one of them they should do the interior of their condominium in Hawaii in Dazzle camouflage, just so they wouldn't get too comfortable being indoors in Hawaii. But yeah, it's a neat little challenge, and the final result should be spectacular. Imagine having that on your mantle of your house. That's the ship on your mantle is a Dazzle painted transport from World War One. Yeah, it's gigantic. Yeah.
Mantle, goodness me, you'd have to have a huge mantle for that. It's a bed, surely.
I think occasionally there's a guy turns up at quite a few of the shows up here with he builds the 200 scale battleships and stuff. He's done Arizona and a couple of them, and he turns up and there's a 6 foot table with like 4 on it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Darn big is what that is. That's a 1-200 for ships is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Herman Hambrush confirms that the glass ceiling of the ballroom, that is, and Herman also says that's the part the guy falls into in the Poseidon Adventure, if you remember. Yeah, the Gene Hackman version, not the one with not the dreadful remake.
No, that's off.
No, that's terrible. Yeah, I do like the Gene. That's an Irwin Allen film, wasn't it? The Poseidon Adventure.
Yes.
Yep. And then Irwin, realizing that he could make more money out of the dwindling disaster movie market in the late 70s, did Beyond the Poseidon Adventure, starring our friend Michael or Morris.
Putting some money in the bank. That's right.
Yeah, dreadful film. Right, well, we're going from the sublime to the ridiculous here because we've got that huge 1/200 scale model of the Olympic. We're following that up with a 1/48 Japanese Mobo bike, and this is 3D printed, but obviously this is going to be a tiny little thing.
Very cute.
Is
it? It's got a clear windshield, I would assume.
Yeah, there's no other details of it. other than just that that kind of like CAD render or that CG render of the box art. But yeah,
Are we scraping the barrel this week?
No, we're not. No, we're not. No. Well, Ian, I'm glad you mentioned barrels. This sounds like we set this up. I'm glad you mentioned barrels because the next thing coming out is AFV Club. Now, this is scheduled for, I think it's scheduled for April or May. And this is their 1/35th scale M110A2G, based on the 2022 kit of an M110, but with new parts. And this is, like I say, this is scheduled for the late spring. That's the previous kind of boxings that they've done, and prior to that one. But this is the German version. Yeah, it's just a blooming great big gun on a set of wheels, isn't it?
Yes.
I think one of the primary things is that weather tar cover for the German ones, which roll up tarpaulin on it, which I noticed they've neglected to put in it, which is. I think tarpaulin thing's kind of the most boring thing you can put on a vehicle ever, isn't it?
No, that's why we have 3D printing, Ian. So
I knew that was coming.
that's why we have tissue paper and PVA glue.
PVA, yes,
that's right. I hear somebody told me that AFV clubs are a little bit fiddly.
I'm just looking at all that detail between the breech and thinking.
Yeah, no,
that's mad. It's a lovely vehicle. To be honest, I've seen these in the field, and they were. I think they're out of service now. They were an impressive piece of kit in their time. I think the Haubitze 2000 replaced them, didn't it? But it was an impressive piece of kit.
Oh yeah, all the detail back there is fantastic. And my experience has been if you take your time and you follow the instructions and you think logically about what they have you do, you can get it assembled in an acceptable fashion without driving yourself crazy. It's not that bad, but it's worth it for the detail.
Yeah,
I think I'd probably find the painting more taxing than the actual construction. Of course, something like that, camouflage, Drew can do that in his sleep.
One arm shot with a misfiring airbrush in the dark.
He's probably laughing at us right now, actually. But that does look like a girt bit of kit, doesn't it?
It's a substantial model as well, with that barrel length as well, isn't it?
Yeah. I do love the fact they put the German national marking on the barrel itself. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. So that's AFV Club's 35th scale M110A2G self-propelled howitzer. Next on the news tonight, it's Trumpeter again, 1/350th. The US Gerald R. Ford CVN 78, 2024 new tool. Now, again, this is a big old brute, isn't it?
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Is that the new generation, Chris?
Yes, they've obviously expanded the acreage of the flight deck.
Yeah,
and moved the island way back to the back of the ship. And also learned with the Nimitz class, but being applied here.
Looking at the artwork, that's got one of those UCAVs on the front deck.
The
XB47.
Yeah.
So they're getting ahead with that. We're talking about the conversation we had briefly earlier about politics. That's a Chinese manufacturer releasing a kit of the latest into service American aircraft carrier, complete with top secret unpiloted vehicle on the front of it. Okay. And the fact that they can get that much detail into it does make you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah. Those tie downs look a little bit enormous, but
they're a touch over scale, I suspect.
The photo etch is a nice touch, obviously. That island is always a very busy place.
Unless I'm very mistaken, that crane units 3D printed as well. Look.
I was just going to say, it looks like you get a 3D printed crane in the kit as well,
Chili.
and also quite a lot of decals.
What scale did you say that was?
1
350.
350th.
That's going to be a good 4 foot long at least.
It's going to give Olympic a run for its money. It's a big ship.
Yeah, I mean that. If you think the Tamiya Enterprise is best part of 3.5 foot, and that's a bigger vessel. That's going to be a big lump of the thing. Yeah, the aircraft are quite deep. Yeah, quite good. There didn't seem to be very many of them on the artwork. Maybe one of each, but I suspect there'll be umpteen additional packs of aircraft you can acquire to stick on it.
I was just going to say, I'm sure that Trumpeter serviced that by selling additional aircraft packs. So, yeah, you're gonna have to like photo etch with this one as well. And yeah, I do like that little 3D printed tractor. That's a very nice touch. But as you can see, not a box you are going to be able to smuggle through the front door under your coat.
That is I remember my reference to mortgages and sleeping in things. That's definitely in that category, isn't it?
If things are bad enough, you can just sleep in the box.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, if you miss your mortgage payment because you bought it, just sleep in the box. Yeah.
Well, the good news about that kit is you can sleep in the box. So yeah, you can live in the box. So
got to be that. That's just huge, isn't it?
That may, and anybody who buys this, who invests in this, and this is going to cost you 289 of your British pounds. Anybody who buys this without due reference will probably end up sleeping in it. Will be directed to sleep in it. So yeah. So we've suddenly gone a bit 1970s, haven't we? Goodness me. But yeah, that's an impressive. I'd say it's an impressive bit of kit. That is an impressive kit, full stop. And Craig Sargent says needs photo etch tie downs. There we go.
1,400 of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear. That's it's interesting though. They've never done. I'd half expect them having done that. We might get one of the British carriers, but they don't seem to have done it.
No, it's no.
I saw a documentary on making that ship, and they have this machine at the shipyard there in Virginia that it's a gigantic press, and it presses those divots for the tie downs into the armored flight deck sections using massive amounts of pressure to compress a hole, basically a hole or a divot that they can then weld the tie down plate into. It's just incredible. Those things are, just technologically advanced to a level now that's almost ridiculous.
I know what you mean about the amount of pressure that they require. Not unlike the amount of pressure a cat exerts on you when it jumps up on your bed and crawls over you at 7 o'clock in the morning, because that's several £100,000 per square inch. That is so.
Such a tiny surface area too, just jammed into you.
Yep. Ian, right, our last two items for tonight are right up your Strausser. You can explain to the ladies and gentlemen what these kits are.
So these have popped up on a couple of the Far Eastern websites over the last day or two. They're basically bundled. So that is the British Touring Car Championship Audi A4 1996 box that I have here, that Nunu issued
Sorry, there you go.
a couple of years ago. And someone has come up with the idea of bundling these with additional decal sheets. Now, these decals appear, and you can see bottom right on that picture, it says SK Decals. SK Decals are Far Eastern brand. I buy them direct from them in a company called under a company called Zoom Models, Zoom on Modeling, and they have a huge range of decals. In fact, if you look at that picture I sent you in our chat yesterday, Jonathan, of the Mercedes AMG, they're all with SK decals in them. So
Right.
what they appear to have done is designed to bundle up existing kits with SK decals. If you think about it, and Jonathan will back me up on this, the most expensive bit of any kit is the box and the decals.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone else has already developed the decal, and you can buy the decal, bundle up your already boxed kit, put the two together and move them on, you're going to shift inventory. And I think that's what they're up to. They're shifting inventory. So this kit, in fact, this kit is the BMW 320e90. Okay. This is a new kit. And funnily enough, there's an SK decal sheet. There's an LB production one. There's an additional decal sheet in there and some 3D printed bit, but I put them in. That then appeared through some of the suppliers in another issue with this on the box, and in the box you got a 3D printed grille. Beautiful. Now that same kit is coming out without the 3D printed grille, but with an SK decal sheet in it for a different British touring car issue, which is the RAC, orange RAC car from, I think it's 2009. And they're also issuing a 2002 Watson's Water sponsored Macau car. The Audi's coming out with a decals for a 1999 German super touring car. There's a 2002 Standard Chartered sponsored Macau Racing BM, and there's a 2006 Macau Racing BM. And they're basically just the kits they already have coming back out with an additional decal sheet bundled together. Value for money is phenomenal. Those SK decal sheets retail anywhere between £10 and £15 a shot. You can buy the kit in the Far East. For instance, that 2009 British touring car BMW with the RAC sponsor one I've seen that now at £36.81 plus post. UK nominal retail for this kit is in the £50 mark. So it's a very clever way of shifting your inventory. But it doesn't look like they're coming into the UK bundle like this. So you're going to have to buy them from the Far Eastern suppliers. The two websites I've seen them on so far are 1999.co.jp and on Hobbylink Japan. So you just got to do a bit of digging around. John Huston, Benson Hedges E30 Bathurst. I haven't seen that decal. I don't think that one's arrived yet. I believe SK were talking about that. It might have slipped past me. But so they're a clever piece of marketing, clever piece of bundling, and they represent great value for a modeler. Those kits are really nice. You can build them straight out of the box without any faffing around. There are like etch metal upgrades and 3D printed grills and all that kind of stuff you can add to them, as there always is, but they don't necessarily need any of that. The new kits build very nicely straight from the box. Thank you very much. As is evidenced by the various Audis and bits and pieces I've shown over the last couple of years here. So, if you fancy a BMW racing car, and you want one that's a little out of the ordinary, that one. That's the that's the one I'm talking about. So for £36.80 from 1999 from Hobby Search, 1999.co.jp, plus postage, that's an absolute bargain. An absolute bargain. And it builds Colin Turkington's car. And which I think there's a lovely bit of footage of that on two wheels going around the hairpin somewhere at Brands. So and the decal on the right of that image is the Audi decal, I think, actually.
Is that?
Yeah, if you look into the Chevrolet,
what have I done there?
They've got reversed, that's all.
Oh goodness me, that's my error. I do apologise. That was me. That was me putting it together this afternoon.
The Audi one is very nice. And actually, And I hadn't realised until you flashed that decal up there. There's a Macau car in that. And as I possibly mentioned before, I do have a thing for Macau races, and so yeah.
I think the moral of the story there is that if you're going to be putting together stuff for the show, is make sure you have something to eat beforehand. Lox9 says, JM, have you tried Despise panel liner? No. In fact, I've just had to go and Google what that is. Because it sounds, frankly, it sounds like the kind of the kind of piece of kit that I desperately need to have to use once and then never use again. But I'm just having a look.
Is that the thing that looks a little bit like the old drafting pens?
Yes. Right, here we go. Yeah, I've just gone onto eBay. Oh no, that doesn't fit the page very well. Yeah, here we go. Model Workshop. So it share screen. We've got some new features in StreamYard, but I'm hoping that they'll do share screen a bit better. That's it. So yeah, it's a bit like an old drafting pen, isn't it?
Yeah. You're on Model Workshop's website there, aren't you?
I am. Yeah. There we go. Pop up page. Yeah. So it's okay. I might get one. I'm a sucker for buying things and trying them out. It does look interesting.
I think it's aimed again at our favourite subject, the Gundam guys.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, and if you look at the art, the artwork that's all around it, it's all Gundam pieces.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, yeah.
Well, in answer to that inquiry from Lox9, JM, have you tried the Despise panel line? No, I haven't. Up until tonight, I had no idea what that was. So
there's a question. Hobby time there. Where can I get the new RGV 500 Suzuki in the UK? As far as I'm aware, it isn't in the country yet, mate. If you want one, the usual Far Eastern mail order sites are apparently the source at the minute. And if you do want one and you buy one, get the upgrade set, because you get the naughty decals for free in that package. The Lucky Strikes, which aren't in the kit.
Lox9 also makes a very good point. Drafting pen back in the 80s cost an arm and a leg. Yes, I can absolutely account for that, because when I started art college, checks notes 40 years ago, we were given a shopping list of things to buy, and goodness me, yeah, drafting pen. Craig Sargent makes a very good point. He says, Great Wall Hobby 72nd scale A10C, biggest announcement of the year. It is, Craig. But we are going to wait until we have Big Cuddly Drew back with us, so that he can talk about that, because that's his meat and potatoes. So we weren't going to rob him of that joy this evening. Right, chaps. Goodness me, we are. Any other business?
I don't believe so. Not for me.
I've got a couple. Can I show a couple? I've got a couple of the SK sheets here, George. Let me just show you. So you talk about the SK decals. There's some sets here. Look, so they're very well presented, really nicely printed. This is for one of the Macau BMWs. Sod's Law says they'll bundle the kit up with this decal sheet in it, which means I bought it pointlessly. That's a 2006 E90. This one's getting built. This is a Hello Kitty sponsored Audi R8.
Wow.
But the other ones they do some work with Zoom On, which is the website where I get them from. They do bundle bits again with so this is the Hashimi Motorsports GTSR Skyline that raced in Macau in '89. To build this car accurately, you need different wheels to what's in the Hasegawa kit. This is based on the newer Hasegawa kit. So they do resin, turn metal, and tire, and then 3D printed mirrors as a package to go with your deco sheet. There you go. So that's what SK do. You've also got LB Productions doing similar things. They do some beautiful, I think we've covered them before, 3D printed front and rear sections for the Tamiya AMG Merc to make the Evo and Evo 2 versions. And there's also bits coming for the new Audi R8 to do the later versions, because the Evo 2's just been released with Valentino Rossi decals in it. Surprise. And that there's a little bit more variation between teams with that car. The older Audi R8, it was kind of, they were all much the same. These Evo 2 ones, there seems to be some variation, mainly around front aero and the rear diffuser area. So there are some changes between those cars. So they're reflecting, again, this is what they're doing, just do 3D printed bits. We keep coming back in this conversation over and over again to 3D printed bits, because they've become the easy way of doing these conversions. Last thing we would touch on resins and time. There was a manufacturer who used to make Luftwaffe 46 bombers and in 72nd scale.
Toad resins.
Toad resins. I have some Toad resin bits still.
Yeah.
They are unrecognizable compared to what we get now.
Yep.
And there was a couple of other guys in the market as well who did things. And when you look at what the 3D printing does for us now, compared to what we had back in the 80s and 90s, don't get me wrong, when Toad resin stuff came out, I had them all, because I was a big Luftwaffe 46 guy. Mike McAvoy, God rest his soul, and myself used to sit and talk about those things for hours and hours on end. All that kind of stuff. Brilliant. But that progress we've got now, we can't keep using that phrase golden age of the hobby, don't we? Do it again. The stuff we've got now is phenomenal, and it allows us to do stuff with a minimum of palaver.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Even on the manufacturing side, it's easier top to bottom.
Yeah.
We've got some comments here about that panel liner. Apparently, Jen Wright is showing it on her Genesis models page. So, we'll put a link up to that. Ian, that Toad resins. If you come across any photo etch bits in your Toad resin kits, I did them.
Did you?
No, I drew them. Yeah.
It's a shame the resin wasn't as good as the photo etch.
That's very kind of you.
Hobby time. Send me a messenger through my On Plastic Wheels Facebook page, and I'll have a conversation with you about the RGB.
Yep. Right, chaps. I'm afraid that's it for today. For tonight. Fingers crossed. Drew will be back for next week, and then we can talk about Great Wall Hobby A10s. So let the expert talk about it. Until the next time, big thank you to everybody who's tuned in tonight. God bless you, governors. And fingers crossed, we'll be back next week for more of this nonsense. More of this quality entertainment. So until the next time, as always, everybody stay safe, stay out of trouble, and we'll see you very, very soon. So bye for now.
No.